So I missed out on Tokyo's selection. It still kind of hurts to say. It's been about a month since we found out. Borada, welcome to another episode of This Is Sevens. I've called this video Overcoming Setbacks before I've even overcome it, but I know I can, and I'm sure if you're in a similar situation, you can too. Mental health is just as important as physical health. So I've been through a range of emotions over the last month, everything from shock, frustration, disappointment, anger, a little bit of embarrassment, just generally feeling low, to the opposite end of the spectrum, feeling ecstatic for the boys who are going to be playing out in Tokyo. A lot's gone into the last 5 or 6 years in terms of training and playing to get to this point, particularly over the last year and a half with the lockdowns. So to come up short, particularly with some of the injuries that happened, has been a tough one to take. Particularly the 2 weeks straight after selection. It's always useful to start by admitting to yourself how you're feeling, particularly as men we're often guilty of just bottling everything up and not speaking about it. All the emotions you go through are completely normal and you shouldn't be afraid to ask for help. Thought I'd share with you some of the ways I've been dealing with it and hopefully they can help you as well. So I've watched everything back while I've been editing this video and I almost wanted to refilm it all again because I seemed so flat when I was speaking. But then I thought it was a pretty genuine portrayal of where I was at mentally. It's been a tough one to take, especially having to watch the Olympics go on in Tokyo. But I still believe everything I said in the video. It's been a few weeks since I filmed the video and I'm definitely in a much better place mentally now. So back to the video. Be relative. What I mean by this is just getting some context to your current situation. It's not about comparing to others, but analysing your own situation and what choices you can make. So a lot of you will know that I studied medicine alongside playing on the World Series, and one of the big benefits of this I see is that I got to see humanity at its best, but also at its darkest. There were so many examples where people were put into awful situations through no choice of their own, where they had no control over it. The majority of the time, these people and their families still found a way of enjoying life. So after seeing that, being left out of a team doesn't seem so bad, but it's not to say it isn't important. So being relative for myself, I was still part of an Olympic squad with 20 of the best players in the UK. I essentially fell at the last hurdle, so I achieved so much getting to that point. Sport is amazing, but it can also be very cruel. I made a choice to sign up to this team, and I knew this could have been one of the possible outcomes. And I always bring myself back to one of my favourite quotes. So after everything that's happened with coronavirus, I told myself that I just want to enjoy every single day of this process, and I definitely did that. I reconnected with some old friends and teammates, but also made some new ones in the process. I'm part of a programme that's really aiming to promote sevens, which I'm very proud of. It's so easy to concentrate on the negatives, that's why it's always useful to try and pick out some of the positives. This has really helped me over the last month, speaking to friends, family, teammates in the same situation or teammates who have experienced something similar. The 6 of us who did make the final squad got into a room after selection and we chatted about how we were feeling, which really helped. All of us were feeling the same way, which was comforting knowing that you weren't alone. And we've been checking in with each other over the last few weeks just to see how we're getting on. But chat to friends, family, whoever can help you, just don't keep it in. This was a big thing we spoke about as a team before selection. These setbacks don't define you, and everyone you know, your friends, your family, are going to be proud of you regardless, and that's so important to remember. In our case, it was just one man's decision that decided whether we got into the squad or not, so why let that define you? One of the lads brought up this great quote from Cool Runnings, which I think sums up the situation perfectly.
A gold medal is a wonderful thing. But if you're not enough without it, you'll never be enough with it.
Accept that this may hurt for quite some time and it's going to vary from person to person. And there is no right or wrong length of time for it to hurt. You have to acknowledge and engage with how you're feeling in order to get to the other side. There'll be days where you feel fine and then it will hit you again. This has been happening to me quite a lot, but I know it will get better. So things like getting off your phone, getting some fresh air and activity each day, and getting some good food into you. I've definitely found it useful taking some time to myself. It's worth knowing though that you don't want to be wallowing in your own pity, but just taking some time to work through what's going through your head. Find outlets to express yourself. This would be different from person to person, but ask yourself, what do you enjoy doing? So this could be anything from seeing friends to cooking, art, reading books, or even gaming. I've always found helping others is a great way to help yourself. So with the extra time I have, I've decided to commit more time to the YouTube channel in the hopes to help you guys improve. Stay away from negative triggers if you aren't in the right headspace. The main culprit is normally alcohol. As I mentioned earlier, anger is one of the emotions I've been feeling, and it's very common in situations like these. Anger can cause you to spiral out of control, but it can equally be used for good. Successful people will turn setbacks into positives by finding healthy outlets. So I always ask myself, what can be done about a situation, or what can I control? From a selection point of view now, probably nothing. I can't control how I'm feeling, but I can control how I react to those feelings. So in the first scenario, you could dwell on it, play the victim, and essentially just make a negative scenario even worse. In the second situation, you can use it to motivate and challenge yourself to improve as a player and a person. Over the last 6 years, my goal has been to become an Olympian since sevens was introduced to the Olympics, and to be honest, nothing changes on that front. But like I mentioned earlier, I now have an extra goal of trying to help as many of you guys as possible. Having this extra goal to concentrate on has really helped my mindset. This is one of my favourite quotes ever. Overcoming a setback isn't a failure. It's a chance to grow, develop and challenge yourself. If you're really struggling in your situation, then please look for professional help. I've left some numbers and some links here, but I'll also put them down in the description. Thank you for watching. Why don't you go and check in on a friend or family member just to see how they're getting on. Diolch yn fawr.